Okay. Let's see. What's your full name? Tom what Potts? Thomas?
Thomas S.
Thomas S. Potts?
Yeah.
What's that stand for, the S?
Seal, S-E-A-L.
Oh, really?
It was my grandmother's maiden name.
Thomas Seal Potts. Is that how they used to name people? By their grandmother's maiden name? That was your grandma's last name?
Because that's where the seal came from. See, my dad was born in England.
Okay.
He came over here before World War One
So when were you born?
in Litchfield, Illinois.
What field?
Litchfield, Litchfield.
Okay, Litchfield, Illinois. What brought your dad from England to America?
He came over in about 1912, I think, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. What was he doing? Why'd he come?
Well, his brothers were all over here,
Okay.
so they sent for him. He's the youngest one in the family.
Generation. Okay. And what did he do for a living?
Well, he ran a factory where they melted down the iron and made radiators and pipe, cast iron pipe. And you know what a radiator is?
Yeah, for a car?
No, for houses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they get real hot and you can't touch them. To heat a house, right?
What?
They get real hot and you're not supposed to touch them when you're a kid.
Oh no, I don't remember that part of it.
But they've got they look like bellows or they, I know what they are,
Yeah.
I think. They're heaters though, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very efficient type heaters.
Yeah, my brother lived in New York City and he lived in an old place and he had a radiator heater.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's an old building that was built probably something like pretty close to 100 years ago.
I bet you so, I'm sure.
I know one of my granddaughters, when she was going to the University of Chicago, her apartment, when she was working on her doctorate degree, was in an old place, and when I told her radiator, she knew exactly what.
She knew what it was?
Yeah.
Well, see, I was thinking car radiator. And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
Just two brothers.
2 brothers. And did they go to the military?
Nope.
You the only one?
My younger brother did get in the Navy just at the end of World War II.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, so how long did you serve in the military?
I served 20 years.
20 years in the military? What rank did you retire at?
Major.
Major Potts.
Yeah.
And that's a 04 or no, I should know what that is. 01, lieutenant, second lieutenant, captain, major. That's 04, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I never thought about it that way.
Well, they call them. That's a grade. We still use that, or we use that now. Let's see. So go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say it's easier just to say the rank.
Yeah, but then you get mixed up because all the different military branches have different. Like captain is a higher ranking.
In the Navy, it's
like
it's like a colonel in the Navy.
Yeah, so that's why I do that.
Yeah. Okay.
But I still don't. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. Litchfield, Illinois. You go normal. Did you?
29 November 1918.
20. No. I was going to ask where you went to school, and like you went to normal 12 years of school, graduated.
Yeah, and then I went to the University of Illinois.
University.
Never graduated though.
You never graduated?
No.
Well, let's talk about school in Illinois in probably 1923. You were around for the Depression.
Oh yeah.
So tell me what that was like, I guess.
Oh boy, that was a mess. My dad, well, everybody was hurt.
Yeah. Did your dad keep his job?
Yeah.
Did he run? He ran the factory. Did he own the factory?
No, it was American Radiator and Standard Sanitary.
Okay.
And he ran a part of the factory.
So he's like a manager or production manager or something.
Yeah.
And let's see what else can I. So So your dad kept his job during the Depression,
Yeah.
and did you guys have to cut back or?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, we did fairly well, but much better than the surrounding.
Yeah, so you saw a lot of people who were in soup lines and stuff like that?
Yeah,
or?
well, what money you had practically went because the stock market just,
Oh, so their savings all went up.
yeah, that's what I say.
So your parents' savings and all that stuff went down, and
Yeah. It was rough.
yeah. See, so 1918. So you're probably 12 or so about the time that the Great Depression was hitting
Yeah.
pretty hard.
Actually, 29 is when
So 11.
was when it really got bad.
Yeah.
And it just stayed bad until World War II.
Yeah. You remember anything about the presidents or any big news stories that happened during your childhood?
Nothing that I could remember.
So no big deal.
Like,
The New Deal, was that a big thing for... That was before World War II, wasn't it? Or was it
What?
after? The New Deal?
the New Deal, well, that was when Roosevelt came.
Yeah.
And
Did you like Roosevelt?
everybody liked Roosevelt.
Oh, everybody did? Okay.
Well, I liked Hoover, the guy that was...
Before you liked Hoover?
Yeah, he took a real bad spill, if you ask me.
Yeah. Oh, so he
Yeah.
didn't do as bad as what history says he did?
Well, I don't know. Anyway, I was just thinking that what is that big dam out in...
Hoover Dam?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hoover.
That-
We were there when they were building that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my grandparents lived in Sacramento, and we lived in Litchfield, and then we moved to Springfield,
Uh-huh.
Illinois. But we'd go out there every summer, see them.
So you used to... Well, let's see. So in 1930, you were driving from Illinois to California?
Yeah.
And they didn't have a national highway at that
Oh,
time.
heavens, no.
So how was that trip? How long did that take?
I don't know. I don't remember how long now.
You don't remember riding in the back of a car?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, my dad usually went, but one time he couldn't go, so my mother took us.
Uh-huh. And did y'all enjoy the trip out there?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. One thing I remember about it was that you get out in the desert,
Mm-hmm.
and there was dips in the road
Mm-hmm.
where the water run across.
Yeah? Would tore away the road? See, that's... Even nowadays, I drove to California on a highway, and that's a long drive. And I didn't have air conditioning when I went. And I went in June, and that's a hot...
Oh, that's a hot drive.
Yeah. So did you go in the summertime when y'all visited?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, see? That's incredible. Y'all didn't think... And then y'all didn't have a highway system. You had to use...
You had a highway system. You had one you could follow, like Route 66.
Yeah, 66. But when did Route 66 get completed? Was that...
I don't remember that.
See, I thought that wasn't that long ago.
Well, 66 is the way we go out there, I know.
And let's see. So when you were in grade school, did you play any sports?
No, I was in bed for 13 months when I was 7 years old, and I walked on crutches for 2 years after that.
Why were you in bed for 13 months?
Well, they didn't know what I had.
Oh, yeah?
So anyway, they said I had tuberculosis of the bone, my left hip. And that's what I thought I had.
Did you ever find out what you had?
Yeah, when I went in the cadets,
Yeah?
aviation cadets, so I put down that I had tuberculosis of the bone, and the doctor says, can't take you if you have that.
Yeah?
He said, but if you put Perthes disease on, you can go through.
Perthes disease?
Yeah.
Is that what you really had?
Yeah, that's evidently what I really had.
Is that Perthes?
Yeah, that's what I asked him. How do you spell it?
Yeah, I've never heard of it. And so it just went away on its own?
Well, afterwards, yes.
Uh-huh.
It never went all the way away
Uh-huh.
because that's the hip I had to have replaced
Okay.
about 4 years ago.
So, how did you do in school? Like, were you a good student or
Just average, I guess.
average student? Okay, nothing. Do you have any big memories of grade school? Like any friends that stood out?
Oh, yeah. And one teacher that I never will forget.
Okay.
She said, "I want your eye."
She wants your eye?
Yeah. When she was talking, she wanted everybody to be looking at her.
Oh, okay. Did you like that? Did you think she was a good teacher?
Yeah.
Did you ever use that, "I want your eye," whenever you were teaching student pilots or anybody? Or
Well, when I was teaching I used to do a lot of stuff after the war. You need some clerical type people, and you could just set up a school and get some typewriters in and teach them how to type. And I can't type, but I could teach them how to type.
you didn't know how to type, but you taught them how to type? That doesn't seem...
No, you tell them to keep their eye on the board, boy. That's what you do.
Oh, all right. Well,
It works.
that's interesting. I took typing class, and I think my teacher knew how to type. But I never learned. So when you graduated high school, what was you went straight to University of Illinois?
Yeah.
And what was your plans to what were you going to plan on graduating with? Or what was your...
Well, I really didn't have any idea.
Just going off to school?
I just went off for school for a good time.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. Good time. How much school did you complete?
2.5 years.
So you were a junior?
Yeah.
Did you have a pretty good grade point average?
Not too good, but it was good enough. It didn't kick me out.
Good enough. Okay. And so at that point, did you go straight from University of Illinois to... did you go into the Air Force?
I went in the Army.
Army? And did they... What year was this?
I was drafted in 41.
1941. So they didn't have an Air Force. It was Army.
Yeah, the Army Air Corps.
Army Air Corps.
But I was drafted, so I went into the infantry.
Army infantry. And so you're drafted into the infantry. And what happened? What did they do with you?
Well, then I stayed in the infantry about a year, I think.
Uh-huh.
Then I met a friend of mine out in California. We were in General Patton's Desert Training Center out there.
Mm-hmm. You didn't ever meet Patton or see him, did you?
What?
You didn't ever see Patton, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was a corporal at the time.
And so corporals enlisted like a, how many stripes?
2.
2 striper?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me real quickly when you saw Patton, what was he like?
Well, we were out in the Desert Training Center,
Mm-hmm.
and we were at a half track, and I had a half track.
What was a half track? Is that a tank?
No, it's got wheels on the front and tracks on the back.
Okay.
And anyway, we were the scout for our army,
Mm-hmm.
and what we'd do, they'd tell us where to move, which way to go, and
Mm-hmm.
we'd do whatever they were told.
Mm-hmm.
So they had us stop, and so they said you had to be at least 50 feet away from the half track, the circle around it. And it was hotter blazes out there
Yeah.
in Desert Training in the
Yeah.
Death Valley.
Yeah.
Anyway, so rather than being circled around like we were told to do,
Yeah.
why, we were all sitting in the shade
Of the track.
Yeah. And who should drive up in his tank with Patton?
Oh,
So he put me under arrest and took my pistol.
he put General Patton himself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, he said, "You and your..."
Was he yelling at you?
What?
Was he yelling at you, or was he just calmly doing it?
Oh, he sort of uptight a little bit.
So like, so he saw you sitting in the shade, and
Yeah.
he was inside a tank.
You know, he was sticking his head out of the top of the tank.
Okay, and did he yell at you from the tank,
Yeah.
or did he?
Yeah, who's in charge? So I went over and reported.
And you were in charge?
Yeah.
But you had to arrest and took your piss.
Anyway, he said, I want you and your commander to be in my office Saturday morning at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So in Captain Peterson and I go, and he's laughing.
Captain Peterson's laughing?
No, Patton was laughing.
Yeah?
He was saying, I wonder what kind of effect this had
On you?
on our whole outfit.
So like the in between the time he told you to meet there and the time that you actually reported, were you nervous?
Well, I wasn't exactly.
Yeah?
Anyway, he was laughing, but he said that he was just trying to get everybody to think the same way, because he said, what you got to do, you got to do what you're told.
Yeah.
Period. And then he said, that's the only way you're going to make it through the war, and we're not trying to get any of us killed on our own.
Yeah. And holy moly, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So
that isn't the end of it, though.
okay.
So a couple of weeks later, while we were in L.A. again, just some of us went in, and some captain came up to me and said, "Are you Tom Potts?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "The general would like to talk to you." So I go over and sit in the back seat of his car with him.
Yeah?
And he says, "How is it affecting your whole outfit?"
Yeah?
And I said, "Everybody's shook up."
And do you think what General Patton did you think that was good leadership, or did that affected you?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's okay. And so that was the last you talked to.
And that's the last I've seen of Patton.
Wow. Okay, so when you were in the infantry, you said you had a friend in California that you went and met.
Oh, well, no. A kid that I'd known practically all my life.
Yeah.
And he was a lieutenant. He had gone to aviation cadets right after.
Oh, so he went straight to the aviation cadets rather than being drafted.
Yeah, he was an aviation cadet before the war started.
Okay.
And anyway, I ran into Bernie and
What is Bernie's last name, you know?
Muldoon.
Muldoon. Okay. And he was an aviation cadet, but he was from Illinois as well?
He was a lieutenant. He was already out of aviation,
Okay.
out of cadets. And
But was he from Litchfield?
no, he was from Springfield.
Okay.
That's where I graduated from high school, in Springfield.
Okay.
Anyway, there was a bunch of us went down to see if we could get in aviation cadets. And he was one of them, and I was one of them.
Okay.
But of course, I didn't have the education, so they wouldn't let me in.
Okay.
Anyway, Bernie said, "Well, boy, they're looking for pilots." And so he was flying P-38s.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there at Los Angeles, and so he said he took me back to his squadron with him and met his commander, and then they made arrangements for me to put in for cadets.
Even without an education?
Well, you didn't have to have the education then that you had to have before the war.
Oh, okay. So how many guys did that? Do you know?
Well, there was 4 of us, and I was the only one that didn't make it.
Oh, you didn't make it?
Well, I didn't make it from the first time I tried because I didn't have the education.
Oh, okay.
They told me to go back to college.
Okay, but then because you knew Bernie.
Well, Bernie took me and introduced me to his commander and said that I would always wanted to be a pilot anyway. So
Yeah.
they told me, go ahead and put in, and they'd see what they could do to help me. So sure enough, they did.
Did you ever get your education? You ever finish a college degree?
No, never did.
Oh, wow. Great. Okay, and how many pilots did you know that didn't have their 4 years of college or whatever?
Oh, well, during the war, like me, they didn't have to have it.
Yeah. Was there lots of guys who didn't?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, lots of guys flew without.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, a lot of them, well, no, never mind. That's just, doesn't make any difference.
What, a lot of them didn't go to any school, or?
Well, the main thing was they wanted bodies.
Yeah. So what determined then if they didn't have that as a reason to?
Well, I don't know. This is all I know is I got in.
Okay, so you don't know what kept other guys who just stayed in the infantry why they stayed in the infantry.
Well, see, if you didn't make it as a pilot, well, then they'd make you either bombardier or navigator usually.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you, or you'd end out as a gunner if you were.
All right. So when you you got into training, you got accepted. What did they train you on?
Well, you had a certain procedure. You go to well, what did they call it? Free flight, and that lasted about a month, and then you go to.
What is free flight?
Well, they just orient you to the Air Force, to the Air Corps,
Okay.
and then you go to basic. Primary, I should say, primary, basic, and then advanced, and then it takes about 11 months.
Basic and advanced is all different.
Well, you fly different birds.
Oh, really? So what do you fly as a primary? Oh, that's your primary plane that you're going to fly?
You know, primary, that's the first planes you fly,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that was oh heavens.
Don't worry about it. Do you remember any of them, basic or advanced?
Well, basic was a BT-13, and
BT-13?
yeah, and advanced was a UC-78.
UC.
Only thing was that they needed people to fly the B-26. Now this is the old B-4 in the straight, they called it. It was real heavy wing loading, and it had a good combat record.
Mm-hmm.
But they had an AT-9 then that they put me in,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went to the B-26
Mm-hmm.
for the training in the only trouble was that you had to be 5'7" and weigh 150 pounds, and I didn't qualify in either one.
You had to be taller and heavier? Or?
Taller and heavier, because you lose an engine on that thing. If you couldn't control it, you were out of luck.
And on B-26 you had to be 5'7", 150 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
B-26, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so they booted me out of that.
Okay.
And then they made me a co-pilot on the B-24.
Cool. Okay. And that's what you flew throughout the war?
Yeah.
All right, so I guess tell me a bit about B-24.
Well, let's see that picture over there on the wall.
Yeah.
That's a B-24, the kind we flew.
Okay. And it was a combat plane and had a tail gunner and all that?
Have what?
A tail gunner or a...
Oh, yeah. Had the crew was 4 officers and 6 enlisted.
Okay. And the 4 officers were 2 pilots, a navigator.
And the bombardier.
Okay. And then the enlisted guys?
Well, there was the engineer, radio operator, and the rest of them were gunners.
Gunners. Okay. RO, and gunners. And when y'all flew together, did y'all pretty much fly with the same crew every time?
Oh, yeah.
So you got to know these guys pretty well?
What?
You knew these guys pretty well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where was I now? I had something I was going to say. Oh, well, yeah, our bombardier was killed over the target on September the 10th, I think it was, 44.
Who was that?
Tommy McGovern.
He was over a target? Which target?
Oh, I don't remember now.
Was it in Germany?
I don't remember where it was. It was someplace up in that area, but I hadn't thought about where it was.
Yeah. What was it a bullet that
Flak.
flak?
We were over the target, and he's a little like I am, only I was littler than he is.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had flak suits and then helmets that we wore when you're in the flak.
Yeah.
And I guess a piece of flak went right to his heart because he didn't have his
Jacket on?
jacket on.
Oh. Yeah.
If he'd had it on, it'd been all right because he.
Yeah. Would have stopped it.
Yeah.
So what would flak come from? From other planes?
Oh no, from the enemy shooting up 155 millimeter guns.
Okay.
And they could tell just exactly what your height was with radar. So you'd really read it when you're going through it. You've seen, I don't know if you've watched the movies, you've seen these black puffs.
Yeah.
Well, that's those shells blowing up in front of you.
Okay. Oh, so they blow up and then pierce the aircraft.
Yeah. You could get 100 holes in your airplane sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's see. So how'd you do in pilot training on the B-24?
Well, then
Oh, I'm skipping something.
well, they had a training session for the people like I was going B-26s.
Mm-hmm.
When they booted me out of that because they said you couldn't control it if you lost an engine, and we were down in Tampa, Florida, flying them.
Yeah.
Anyway, they had about, I guess, 6 weeks of training in that plane, and then they assembled. Then they put me as a co-pilot in the B-24,
Mm-hmm.
and we had our replacement training. In other words, you train as a crew, and you train and everything else about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, as an illustration, we were where the heck were we? We had in 44 is when it was. On Easter Sunday, we were at. I can't think of the name down in Arizona where we were taking our replacement training. Anyway, it snowed, so we didn't have to fly on Easter.
Oh, okay.
That was what I was
It
getting at.
snowed in Arizona?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess, does it snow in Arizona a lot? It can't.
No, it don't last long.
Yeah, that was in April, or March, April.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was 44.
Okay. And so, that's where you trained in Arizona from the B-24
Yeah.
for replacement training?
Yeah.
And that's because they replaced you from a B-26 to a B-24? Is that why they called it that?
No, the B-26 was a twin engine,
Yeah.
and the B-24 was a four engine.
Yeah.
So the B-26 had nothing to do with me flying in the B-24s.
Okay, no, but why'd they call it replacement training?
Well, because we were getting ready to replace crews already overseas.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And we just, as soon as you got trained and were ready, then away you'd go. And
Okay. So when you got trained, you're saying right as soon as you graduated or completed training?
well, completed aviation cadets.
Yeah.
And you got commissioned.
Yeah.
And then you would go into this training to whatever bird they want you to fly.
Okay.
And I went in two B-26s for me, but then they said that, I don't know why they didn't realize this before.
Beforehand, yeah.
But they put me in a B-24, and it was worse than a B-26.
As far as moving the yoke and handling it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because you lose an engine on takeoff on that thing, and what they do is you line everybody up,
Mm-hmm.
and then as soon as it was your turn to go next, why then there'd be 3 airplanes on the runway at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the prop war should be something terrible. So I know when I was flying, I became a pilot. I mean, first pilot shortly after we got over there.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I'd get off the ground, I'd slip it off to the side of the runway. The engineering officer always turned his back.
Why would you do that?
I'd just get out of the prop war so that
From the aircraft in front of you?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
two of them on the run. Well, you start out and there's 2 ahead of you already.
Mm-hmm. And so if you're flying too close to another airplane, all the
It
wind
stirs up the air.
and it's harder to control, and that's why you would veer off to the
Yeah,
side.
Yeah.
Would you come close to the edge of the runway? Is what?
Oh, well, you try to get off the runway.
Yeah, but it was scary the way you did it, huh?
Yeah, but nobody seemed to say anything except the engineering officer wouldn't look.
All right. And so, okay.
But big guys, I was the littlest guy on the crew.
Yeah. How tall are you?
At that time, I was about 5'5",
5'5". Okay.
weighed about 130.
5'5", 130. Okay. And so, did the crew that you trained with on there? Is that who you deployed with?
Yeah.
So who were the pilots, the other guys that you were on your crew?
Well, Norb Kuska,
Norm?
Norb, N-O-R-B,
N-O-R-B?
E-R-T, of course, is Norbert Kuska.
Okay. How did you say his last name?
Kuska, K-U-S-T-K-A.
Oh, okay. Never heard that kind of name before.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was another pilot?
Yeah.
Were you a co-pilot? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
For Norb, yeah.
Okay. And then who was your nav? Do you remember?
Navigator?
Yeah.
Alvin Platt.
Alvin Platt.
I don't know why you're putting names down. None of them are around.
Oh, I'm not gonna. I'm just for history. Did you like all these guys?
Oh, yeah.
And do you remember engineer?
Well, you didn't write down
Oh.
Bombardier.
Okay. Oh no, I did. Tommy McGovern, right?
McGovern, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got him.
The engineer was John Devine.
And let's see. You said 2 gunners or 3 gunners?
No, there was 6 gunners.
Oh, who's the RO? Do you remember? See a radio operator?
Well, the radio operator was Jim Roach.
Jim Roach.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Then the nose gunner was Nolan Hebert.
Nolan. Nolan.
Yeah.
Aber.
Hebert. He's Cajun.
Oh, okay. Hey, Bert. So,
And the tail gunner was Bobby Moore.
tail gunner was who?
Bobby Moore.
Bobby Moore?
M-O-O-R-E.
Okay, I gotcha. All right.
And the engineer, top gunner was, I gave you John Devine, though, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, the Sperry Bowl gunner, the guy that hangs down on the bottom,
Yeah.
was Herbert Wegman. Have you got 10 names?
See, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, and then you 9. So,
Well, then the waist. Oh, no, see, we had 2 waist gunners.
okay, waist gunner is probably what I'm missing.
That was Dudek.
Dudek?
Yeah.
Do you remember his first name?
Oh heavens!
Don't worry about it.
I always called him Porky.
Porky. That's good enough.
No, it isn't, because that's not his name.
Was he chubby?
Yeah, a little chubby, not much.
What was Herbert's last name again? The ball gunner? Or the
Herbie Waymeyer.
Waymeyer?
Wegman.
Okay. You have any stories about those guys, like Norbert, or any of them crazy drinkers or partiers or womanizers? Or
The worst partier we had was the Bombardier.
Bombardier, Tommy?
There we go. The one that was killed.
Yeah. So what do you do? Like, you have a story of him partying?
Well, he was partying all the time. He'd disappear and he'd show up.
Okay, I know guys like that.
He was a good egg, don't get me wrong.
No. And,
One time we had a fire in the Bombay and Roach called and said, "We got a fire in the Bombay," and I said, "Well, damn it, put it out."
Yeah.
And he did.
Roach put out fire.
He got us.
You about to say Silver Star, but that's not
What?
it. I thought you were about to say Silver Star. Did he get an award for putting out the fire? A medal?
Yeah. What is it?
Did he use a fire extinguisher?
What? Yeah.
And did y'all continue the mission
What?
after the fire was out?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You don't turn around and come back. About once turn around and come back, they just about ready to shoot you. Oh, what in the Sam Hill did he get?
Oh, I bet you that's historical somewhere. That
Yeah,
somebody who knows how to look up historical things would be able to find that medal.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I was thinking air medal, but that's not it. It's
We got meritorious merit.
well, this was a one for combat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it's a typical one. Boy.
Distinguished Flying Cross or Flying Cross?
Yeah, that was it, I think. Yeah.
What caught on fire? Do you know?
It was just hydraulic fluid.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how it got started, but
So, were you married at this time?
nope.
No. We'll get to that. You got married after you got out of the service? No, after you came back home?
Yeah. Well, see, you fly so many missions in the Air Corps in Europe, and they'd send you home
Yeah.
during the war, which really shocked me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you fly 20 missions, and that's a tour.
50.
Oh, 50 missions.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's more than I thought. So you fly 50, you come home, and then they could send you back again, right?
Yeah, but they didn't, because I thought they probably would. Because as far as I could see, there wasn't anything wrong with me.
Yeah.
But they put me in the hospital as soon as I got back here, after I had my leave.
Due to psychological stress or something?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And the only thing I had to do was see the psychiatrist once a week.
And that's all you did for work?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they had a fancy hospital down there at Don Cesar.
Uh-huh. Did you know other guys in that hospital who were really mentally...
No, I didn't know any that were, because I got married then shortly after we got in there. That's when I went back and got my wife. And,
Did you know her before you went?
oh, yeah.
Okay. How did you know her?
Well, I met her when she was younger, and so was I.
When you were younger?
Yeah.
Was she from Springfield as well?
No, well, my folks moved to St. Louis.
Uh-huh.
So I went home then, and that's where I met her.
Okay.
That's the one that was in there.
No, I saw. I know
we
who
married
she.
64 years.
64 years.
Last Tuesday.
So when did y'all get married then?
Huh?
What was the date you got married? So what is this?
14 April.
14 April. What year?
45.
Okay. And let's go. Okay, let's talk about your missions. Where's your base that you were flying out of?
Cerignola, Italy.
Say it again.
Cerignola.
Cerignola. And was there a base there? Obviously.
Yeah. We had twin runways on the...
And where were most of your missions over?
Well, we hit some in Germany, Czechoslovakia, Austria. The biggest one we hit most of the time was Polesti.
Say it again.
Polesti.
P-O-L?
P-O-L.
Don't worry about it. I've never... that's a country?
No, Polesti is the name of a town.
Oh, in what country? Czechoslovakia?
No, boy.
Working out your...
It's where they were producing most of Germany was producing most of their fuel.
Okay. German fuel. I'll find that out. Okay, and so what time did you arrive into Cerignola, Italy? What year? Or what?
In June, I guess it was June of 45.
June of 45?
Yeah.
So you got married and then you went.
No, 44.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
I gotcha. June of 44. Okay, arrived in June 44. What was the base like? What kind of barracks did they put you up in? And
Yeah, it had tents.
you were in tents?
Yeah.
And was it hot or cold or what?
Well, depending on the time of year, it was hot in the summertime and cold in the winter.
Did they have good heating and cooling systems inside
Well,
the
didn't have
tent?
any.
So you were just either freezing or
Well, what we do is go down and borrow a little petrol from the airplane.
borrow what from there? Petrol.
Yeah, a little gas from the plane.
Okay.
And then we have a can, about 5-gallon can,
Yeah.
and you have copper tubing come in from the gas that was in the can outside.
Yeah.
It'd be dripping in, and then you'd throw them at you.
Wow. So you'd have open flame inside your tent?
No, it was a.
Oh, the copper had hot liquid running through it.
Oh no, it was just a can. Like you see now, and you had to cut an opening in it, and and then that's how we heated the tent.
Okay.
And we had bomb fuses,
Mm-hmm.
and they come in cans, and we'd stack them on top of the other stuff for a chimney.
Oh, they had to be depleted bomb fuses, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So they were kind of tubular, these bomb fuses, I guess,
And they're about that long,
and they were metal pipe, kind of.
and they made a metal pipe. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would they after they were used, they would stay inside the aircraft, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Were bombs from the aircraft is what they were from? The bomb fuses?
Yeah.
Okay. And where did y'all eat? Did y'all have a chow hall or?
Yeah, we had well, when we first got over there, where there wasn't that much, we had a club that we built, and then we had enough room in there for our squadron to eat.
And what was the food like?
Oh, spam mostly.
Mostly spam?
Yeah, we didn't have.
Was it really mostly spam?
It really was. They cook it I don't know how many different ways, but it was still spam.
They give you bread or like?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They bake bread.
Did y'all get to leave the base and visit Italian people or anything like that?
Well, there was. See, this was enemy territory.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't much you could.
Go see.
No.
So.
We'd go over to Bari, Italy.
Bari?
Yeah.
And was the stuff to buy there, or could you buy like tourist? I mean, like, could you buy anything Italian while you're there? Or?
Oh yeah, you could buy some Italian stuff, but I don't know. I didn't see anything that looked like it was worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah. And let's see. Okay, so how long after you got there in Cerignola did they start flying you?
Well, just as soon as we got there,
As soon as
practically.
you got there, were you one of the first crews there, or was there
Oh
already
no,
crews?
there was already some crews there.
How long have they been there? I mean, how long had that base been open for flying aircraft out of there?
I don't remember, but
Was
I
it-
imagine just a few months.
Just a few months, so it's fairly new.
Yeah, I know the first time we landed, this metal runway stuff that they clamped together.
Yeah.
Why, the first time you land on it, it scared the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Rattle.
So the runway wasn't a standard issue American runway.
It wasn't metal. It wasn't concrete.
They had a metal runway over there in
Yeah,
Italy?
well, they had big things that about maybe 8 feet long and about a foot wide, and they hooked together.
Yeah. And so that was your runway? Was kind of a you could take it apart and put it back together?
Yeah,
Okay, so it sounds temporary.
Oh, it was definitely temporary.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess every time you hit, yeah, it would be loud.
And another thing that was...
They didn't tell you about that before you landed there the first time?
No, I never heard of it before. I tell you, I thought the bottom was coming out of the airplane.
Wow. And,
another thing that really shocked me was that I told you about they'd line us up and then we'd go off, they'd flag us off in 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they did that was so that they assemble in groups.
Mm-hmm.
And then the groups to the 15th Air Force, and there'd be maybe 1,000 airplanes in the sky at one time, all in formation, just going over and over
Uh-huh.
and dropping bombs.
So if they spaced you out too far apart, y'all couldn't be in formation.
Well, you had to use too much power to get caught up.
Okay.
And you just pay attention to the red lines.
Did you ever lose the engine during takeoff or anything like that?
Not during takeoff, but I've lost the engine before.
Yeah, we'll talk about those in a little bit. So you flew, you flew 50 that time from Cherignola?
Yeah.
50 missions? And all of them took off?
What?
They all took off and you completed them? Well, I guess that's not a good question.
You don't get credit for it if you don't complete it.
Well, see, what I'm getting at is nowadays, our planes, and we're not doing combat missions, but a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but sometimes their plane, we can't take off because we'll do a hydraulic check and we'll have a leak or we'll have a problem and we'll decide not to take off. But all your missions took off as planned, right?
Well, no, some people didn't make it for one reason or another.
Okay, so it's kind of the same way.
I see, you're talking about a jet engine too, and these recips, they were nothing like the jet.
Yeah. No.
And then the turbos and things like that. You lose a turbo and you can't stay with the formation.
Yeah. And so, do you remember your first mission? What that was like?
Yeah.
What was that?
Linz, Austria. We bombed the Hermann Göring Tank Works.
Okay, and how'd that go?
Oh, it went pretty good, truthfully.
You didn't have any? Any enemy aircraft meet you or
Well, not
ground
any
fire?
aircraft on that one, but that's another thing that's when it gets really exciting.
When enemy aircraft are shooting at you?
Oh yeah.
Well, right.
Because what they
imagine.
do is they shoot a tracer, about one in every 3 shells is a tracer.
Yeah.
And you can see it coming at you.
Yeah. And what's it like when it hits? Does it hit the aircraft? Do you hear a bullet hit the aircraft?
No, you can't really hear it.
Mm-hmm. But you know it's being hit?
Well, you don't really know.
Oh, yeah? Until you land and you see holes.
Yeah, until you land and they see holes.
So you can't hear a tink-tink or a ink?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I think we could hear the flak hitting the side of it. It lost velocity.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, so in Linz, Austria, you bombed what was that place? There's a bomb factory?
Hermann Göring Tank Works.
Okay.
I believe that's what it was.
Okay.
But I don't remember the rest of them. I don't even
No, I know you won't remember all of them, but the first one. And so it took off. You dropped you had coordinates where you were going to drop a bomb at, or do you?
Well, we go in the bomb sites that the bombardiers used.
Mm-hmm.
You fly into a certain point, then the bombardier would get it lined up. The ferry bolt. The bomb site would fly the airplane.
Okay.
Keep it on the straight and narrow, and then for just a few minutes, then they'd drop the bombs.
So the bombardier's whole job was to know how to get the bomb to land exactly where it wants it to.
That's right.
Okay. And so the pilot during that time will follow the direction of the bombardier telling him to go.
Yeah, he'd take it over.
Oh, he would fly the aircraft, the bombardier?
The bombardier would fly it with his bomb sight.
Really? So there was control on the bomb site that would somehow steer the aircraft?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So y'all would take your hands off the yokes?
You didn't have to take it off. You could rest it on there, but
But you would feel, would the yokes move when he was moving his?
Well, I think they did because he would try to get it so that they could release the bombs through the bomb sight.
So could he tell after you dropped the bomb whether or not it hit the target?
Well, no, you didn't stay around that long.
Oh, okay.
But there'd be other ships that would fly
Mm-hmm.
in and check the damage.
And same height as what y'all were?
Well, I don't know what side they went in as.
But were they B-24s? Were they other aircraft?
Well, we had B-24s and B-17s
Okay,
in our inventory.
and so it'd be just, so sometimes you might have checked somebody else's bomb damage,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And would y'all just do that from the bombardier scope, or?
Well, no, they'd have cameras in the plane.
Oh, really? Okay. And so would y'all get debriefed on, like, say when you landed after bombing the tank works? Would
Yeah.
you come back and they would tell you how it was good because y'all hit it or y'all missed it, or did what?
Whatever.
Yeah, they would give you a debrief on that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure. You had a briefing before and debriefing afterwards.
Mm-hmm. And most of the time they'd have the information pretty quick as to whether or not it was successful.
They really wouldn't have it too quick
Mm-hmm.
when we get to be debriefed ordinarily, but they'd have the data later on.
Okay.
But that was rather not a very good system for bombing, truthfully.
Why is that?
Well, they just hadn't come up with anything that was that good yet.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, it's kind of just dropping a bomb, from.
Yeah.
How high were y'all flying when you dropped a bomb?
Oh, about 20 to 22,000 feet.
Yeah, I imagine it was hard to to do, and
I never did think we did too good a job on that, but it's neither here nor there.
so how often do you know how many missions that you had enemy aircraft trying to attack you, or out of the 50?
Oh, I don't know. There weren't. The farther we went along, I don't know if you've heard of these black guys that were.
Tuskegee Airmen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they flew cover for us,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had red-nosed P-51s,
Uh-huh.
and they had orders they weren't allowed to chase the enemy planes out of the when they were in the formation.
Mm-hmm.
So they would stay right with the formations,
Mm-hmm.
and they really had ordered they can't even leave it. They're just to protect the fighters, the bombers.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, after that, we really
Because they were protecting you, you didn't really see too many enemies?
no. That's what I say, because you'd see some, but they would stay with us so that the enemy wouldn't be able to get in on us too good.
Were they based, the Tuskegee Airmen, were they based out of Cherignola?
No, I don't know where they were based out of.
Did you ever meet any of them?
Oh yeah, I don't know if you've heard of the Dedalians.
The Italian?
The Dedalian, it's a club for pilots.
Okay.
And we had a couple of Tuskegee Airmen in our Dedalian flight out at the base.
Yeah. Did you like them, or?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just like the rest of us.
Yeah. Don't know. Some guys probably didn't take to them as good as others, I imagine.
No, but for my way of thinking, they really helped us out.
Quite a bit. So, all right.
But the thing that got me was that when the enemy would come at you, you were flying like this, they'd come straight at you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd roll over on their back, and then they'd start spraying out, and just spray the whole formation like.
So they would come at you nose to nose. Their nose would be facing
Yeah,
your
a lot of
nose.
times they do. Other times they'll come right into the formation almost, and
Mm-hmm.
it can get a little hectic.
Yeah, I imagine so. You didn't ever see, towards the end of the war, I guess the Germans had made a jet aircraft?
Yeah, I saw that 162.
Yeah? Is the 162 was a kind of jet?
I think it was a jet, but we just saw it. We didn't.
What'd you think? Did you think, wow, it's fast? Or
Well, no, we just flew alongside of us.
oh yeah,
Yeah, he didn't attack us.
I wonder why not.
I don't know. They just started building them, I know, and maybe they didn't have many of them
To potentially lose.
to. Yeah.
What? Okay, so you crash landed twice, right? Was that both out of those 50?
Well, the first time, I don't know what happened, but something happened with the main gear on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
The tire was just flopping, or the wheel was just flopping around.
So when you tried to take it in after takeoff, it never came all the way in?
It fell out when we were on the mission,
Oh, okay.
and we were coming back.
So how did y'all know? I mean, I guess the
Well, you
waist
could see
gunner
it.
saw it?
You could see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the gunner could see it.
Okay.
So when we landed there, why we tried to keep that right wing up as much as we could. But then when it goes down, why?
Yeah. So was it swinging around and hitting the aircraft, or?
No, it was just hanging there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened to it, because you thought if something had hit it, that the wing had fallen off.
Yeah. Afterwards, they weren't able to tell. Like when y'all landed, y'all never found out.
I never did hear. I don't think
They probably
messed
didn't
around
spend a
with
lot of time to figure it out.
They weren't too interested in what happened. They were just interested in keeping birds flying.
So yeah, okay. So you were flying, and did you feel anything, or the first thing you hear probably is from the waist gunner, or to
I can't remember now.
how you found out?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Do you remember where you're flying over when that happened?
Nope.
Okay.
Do
So
you realize how long that's been?
about 40, 50, 60 years, something like that. I'm just trying to, get an accurate representation of what's going on. So was it hot or cold?
No. I know one time we were coming back from the target and we lost the turbo and we couldn't stay with the formation.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some clouds around, so I put it up in the clouds and hoping that nobody'd see us.
Oh, because when you're out of formation, you're a lot easier
Oh, yeah,
to
that's
shoot down.
just set and duck.
Okay.
The only way you can really keep from getting shot down is you have to get right down on the deck, about 50 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fighters can't come in because your gunners can get them.
Mm-hmm.
The guns are fixed,
Mm-hmm.
so you can't get right in back of you so they can shoot you down. Whereas if
You're higher.
you're higher, they can come in from all different angles and
Okay. So you reduce the amount of different ways they can come get you.
Anyway, in the soup, and all of a sudden it had an aerial running on the nose of the plane, and all of a sudden the thing looked the size of a hardball bat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ice all over the bird.
Oh.
And all the de-icing equipment, they took it off the planes because it was the part that they put on the leading edge of the wings
Mm-hmm.
that they couldn't notice if you had a hole in that kept them from patching all the holes.
Okay.
So they took that out, and then the de-icers on the props, they took those out because they were catch on fire.
Okay.
Anyway, we had to go over the Alps.
Yeah, with ice on your wings.
Yeah, but we finally got down to where it was warm enough.
And thawed it out while you were flying?
Yeah. Just scared the hell out of me.
Oh, man. And so y'all landed back safely that time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said it was the size of a baseball bat on the front wing?
Yeah. It's like just like a wire sitting there, and then there's that big around.
God. Okay. So the time when you had the right gear hanging down, how did you get that plane down?
Well, we just flew it down and kept the right wing high as long as we could. And then when it settles down, we settled down in the dirt. We kept it off the runway.
Okay, because was it the metal runway again?
Yeah.
And so it would probably knock some pieces loose or something? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, how was that landing? Did it tear off the gear or break anything?
Oh yeah, it tore off everything over there. They had to put a new wing on it.
Oh, really? So they used the same plane. They just
Yeah.
added a whole new wing.
Yeah.
You don't know how long that took them to do.
Well, not very long. I was really shocked. Boy, I mean, those guys, they must have worked 24 hours a day.
Yeah. What?
One of my best friends was a mechanic over there in our group.
Mm-hmm. And what did he do? I mean, how did you know him?
Well, he's a kid I run around with at home.
Oh, he was. He was from
Yeah.
Springfield.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So what kind of stuff would you do for relaxation and or fun while you were on the base? Did y'all have time to do anything?
Well, there wasn't much to do, truthfully.
Yeah.
And going into Barry wasn't anything. You could get some lousy ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh, one interesting thing, there was a plane crashed up in Potenza, Italy. I can't even remember now how far up it was.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we went up there, a couple of us. The maintenance officer, I don't know why I went with him, but anyway, we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we got up there and we ran into the best stuff we'd run into. Spumani.
Savani?
Spumani.
Spumante? Oh, that's the champagne, or?
It's like champagne.
Okay. Wow.
Anyway, we started drinking that stuff. It goes down like Toady Pop.
Yeah. But it doesn't act like soda pop, does it? It got you drunk?
Oh boy. About 3 days later, we woke up.
Ah. So, Italy was a hostile country in World War II. Mussolini. And was the base safe from like ground attack?
Well, but we didn't have any, to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Italians had given up on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they
weren't too strong of a.
weren't too strong of a Nazi.
Yeah.
Anyway, the most interesting part is why I wasn't a POW.
What?
Why I wasn't a POW.
Okay, yeah, well, go ahead and tell me that story.
Well, anyway, we were coming back from the target, and we had bombed this was late in the war, really, and the Germans were pulling out of the Balkans,
Okay.
coming back through Yugoslavia.
Okay.
So the British had made a raid at Dubrovnik, which is a real picturesque town in Yugoslavia, the coast.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't know what happened, but 3 of the props ran away. You probably don't know what that means either.
No.
They start just spinning around and don't do you any good.
Is it kind of like cavitating? Is that?
Well, they get going so fast, they get going the speed of sound.
And so they're not moving air anymore.
No,
Okay.
but 3 of the 4.
What would cause that? Like your angle of attack or something? Or?
I don't know what caused it.
Okay.
Anyway, they ran away, and we were just crossing the coast of Yugoslavia, going back to Italy.
Okay.
And we piddled around with them. So I started throwing everything out of the airplane, the guns and everything else.
Why were you doing that?
Well, hoping we'd get the props going again so we could get back home.
Well, why was throwing guns out of the aircraft get the props going again?
Well, that's if they got going again.
Oh, okay.
Because you lighten up everything you can.
Oh, lightening up. Okay.
Anyway, we were across the coast of Yugoslavia, going out in I guess that's the Adriatic Sea now.
I'm not good at geography.
Well, anyway, we were going down like a rock.
Okay.
So I turned around and I called the crew and I told them, put your parachutes on and get ready to bail out. Because this thing is not flying.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I said, now what I'm going to do is I must hope I can make the coast so you don't have to land out in the water.
Okay.
Or ditching the airplane is not is not a good thing because you can't. It sinks and you can't.
Yeah.
You're in the water and it's November.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So anyway, we turned around and sure enough, I made the coast.
Mhm.
And I rang the bell. It's,
To eject or to get
Yeah.
out. Is that what the bell was for? To
Yeah.
tell the crew to
Yeah.
get out of the plane?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, then, let's see. Oh, yeah, so I was ready to go, and the bombardier waited until he saw my feet come off the rudders, and then he bailed out.
Okay.
So I turned around to go,
Mhm.
and there was the engineer standing there. He lost his parachute.
How'd he lose it?
Well, I'm not real sure, but I think somebody was handing it to him, and he didn't get it.
And so this was John Devine.
John Devine, yeah.
Okay, so he's standing there without his parachute.
Afraid to tell me.
He was afraid to tell you. What was his rank? Do you remember?
He's a tech sergeant, I think.
Tech sergeant. Okay.
Anyway, I said, well, I guess we got to put this thing someplace.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you look out where the pilot sits, you look out and there's a little spot you can see. It widens out a bit, but luckily, I looked out there and there was water.
Okay.
And I thought we put it down there. The only trouble was that I thought I was overshooting it.
You thought you were gonna hit land on the other side, or?
Yeah, I didn't want to hit land.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I dove it right into the water. And well, I told John just get in the co-pilot seat.
Mhm.
And so he got in the co-pilot seat, but he didn't put the seatbelt on.
Oh no.
So when we hit, well, he flew out.
Out of the aircraft.
Yeah.
So you hit. It was a huge slam, I imagine, like a huge, like a car crash, probably.
Oh, of
Probably.
course, than that, he hit it about 200 miles an hour.
Okay. Hit water at 200 miles an hour. Okay.
I've got some pictures around here of what's left of the airplane, but I don't know where they are at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe later we'll get those. If.
But anyway, so well, John flew out. Anyway, when it settled down, I was underwater,
Mhm.
and
But you were still in the pilot seat.
yeah, I was still in the seat. They had an odd seat on the darn bird.
Mhm.
It was thick steel
Mhm.
around the back,
Mhm.
on the seat, and then around the face a little bit, about that big, about that wide, I guess.
Mhm.
And boy, I tell you, that really protected me.
Okay. Well, that's good. It was padded, I hope, right?
Oh no, it was just
Metal.
metal, but the seat belts. I don't know if you never crashed in an airplane. I guess.
No.
Those seat belts, military type, where you got the
Shoulder and the.
and the belt. Boy, you know, after the war, my first car, the first thing I put in, you know what it was? A seat belt.
Oh, you put in seatbelts before they were necessary.
I was convinced.
Yeah.
Anyway, John was thrown out. And he was really beat up. He had bones sticking out.
Yeah.
I don't know what now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I couldn't get out of the airplane
Mhm.
because my feet were down, caught in some bunch of something or other.
Yeah.
And anyway, I was underwater, so I passed out. I guess it was just a matter of seconds later because I woke up and my face was the only sticking out of the water.
Oh, really? So you floated up to the top,
I don't know what happened, truthfully.
and were you still in your seatbelt?
He's still in the seatbelt, and my feet, I couldn't get to them. I had boots on, fur-lined boots, and my shoes.
Yeah.
And I had to just keep going in and out of that water until I finally got.
Until you got your feet out of the boots. or-
Yeah, I had to get my feet out of the shoes too.
To get them released, so you kept digging down, holding your breath, untying something, and then going back down
Yeah.
over and over. And the whole time, John's floating in the water.
Well, no, he was out standing on the shore. He was hollering at me. I could hear him, and I was underwater.
Oh, really? And so he's got what kind of bones? Is it like his thigh bone, or do you remember?
His arms.
His arms bones were sticking out.
And teeth out, and he was really beat up.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was a Yugoslavia. By the way, we've been back over there 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
trying to find out where that happened. Airplane was.
Yeah.
And I can't talk to anybody in Yugoslavia,
Hmm.
even in the hotels.
Oh, okay. So this was after the war. You tried to find
that's right. But anyway, what happened then?
You got out.
Well, yeah, I finally got out.
Hmm.
And there's a guy there at right where we crashed
Hmm.
that had lived in Brooklyn,
Hmm.
and he'd just gone back before the war to visit his family, and he got caught and he couldn't get out.
Okay. He got caught by who?
What? Well, by the Yugoslav government.
Okay.
He was. The people we went down with were Tito's people. You've heard of Tito, I imagine. Well, he was one of the communists.
Okay.
And then in the northern part of Yugoslavia, Mihalovic was the guy that was in charge, and he was on the German side.
Okay.
So we were lucky we went down where we did rather than a little farther north.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'd been POW.
Okay.
Well, anyway, the British had made a raid on Dubrovnik, and one other thing. It was rather comical, truthfully. The guy said, "Is there any first aid kit on the plane?"
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's one. And then I thought, oh, my sainted aunt. I never paid any attention to the damn thing.
What do you mean? It wasn't.
I knew about where it was,
But you don't.
but I didn't know even how it was hooked.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So I had to go back in the water again and get the first aid kit out.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they ever used it or not. But
On John.
what?
On John.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, when we got in the house there, I asked this guy, I said, can we get John some medical attention?
Hmm.
He says, well, we can't do anything till it gets dark, but I'll see what I can do.
So he's sitting. Where is he staying at with his broken arms for hours?
Well, he was in this house,
Okay.
and I was in there with him.
Okay.
I'm not in the same room with him, but I was in there with him.
And whose? I'm sorry. Whose house was it? I think.
Well, I don't know whose house
it's just a Yugoslavian.
It's just one of the communist Yugoslavian.
And they decided to help you out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, they were on our side,
Okay.
mostly then.
Okay.
Anyway, I asked him if he could get us some medical attention, and he said, I don't know, but he said, I'll sure try to find out.
Hmm.
So when it got dark, they put us out on a flatbed truck
Hmm.
with a mattress on there, and John and I flopped on that.
Hmm.
We rode just a little ways. It was dark, and the mountain road.
What was John like? Do you remember? Was he complaining, or was he
He
laughing,
wasn't
or
too
was
bad.
was he cracking jokes or anything?
No, he wasn't cracking any jokes.
Okay. All right. So y'all are in the back of the pickup truck.
No, it was a flatbed truck, and we didn't go very far. I know that, and they stopped. And this guy came back to me, and he said, "Now that's a German ambulance,
Hmm.
but it's one of our guys driving it, and he's in a German uniform."
Okay.
Now then, he said the British had just made this raid at Dubrovnik,
Hmm.
so they're going to run you right through the German lines, right through the British lines, and into the hospital.
Wow.
So this is my trip on why I wasn't a POW.
So you get in the back of this ambulance, right?
Yeah.
And y'all are patients. You lay down on the stretcher.
Yeah.
And why did the Germans let him go through his line?
Well, it was a German ambulance, so they weren't going to bother with it, I think. That's what it comes down to. I don't know.
Oh, and you don't know why the British let a German ambulance into...
We'd let a German ambulance in.
Oh, y'all would? Okay. Okay.
Anyway, so...
But once... Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So that's the most interesting part of the story.
So when he got medical treatment, and that was his last flight before they sent him home, I'm sure.
Yeah.
John.
Well, he was in the hospital for quite a while.
Yeah. What happened to your other guys who made it out of the aircraft?
Oh, they all bailed out.
And they were fine?
Yeah.
They weren't behind enemy lines where they bailed out?
Well, they were in this communist.
In Yugoslavia?
Yeah.
So they weren't, the communists weren't against the Americans at that time?
Well, the communist Tito's people weren't against.
Okay, I got you.
In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that the British were talking to Tito then. I think they were trying to make some arrangement. Whether they ever did or not, I don't know. I know that that was on the 5th of November, 1944, and this, I can't think of the guy's name, is head of the, oh heavens, he wrote a book anyway on the war. He was a German.
Yeah.
I read the book, and they were back in at Dubrovnik by Christmas, and they had a church service there.
From 5 November when you crashed to Christmas.
You talk about
quick. Yeah. So when y'all got to the hospital, did they transfer John?
Well, no, they just took him and put him in the British hospital.
Okay.
And put me in there with him. And the only problem I had was I'd been in that cold water so long I couldn't get warm.
Okay.
And I was shaking, and I walked in, and this brigadier that was running the
hospital.
The British troops there.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "You don't have to be afraid anymore." And I said, "I'm not afraid."
Cold. And so, did you just eventually warm up like overnight, or?
Well, they put me in a bathtub and put hot water in. Didn't start it out real hot, but they kept changing. So by morning, I was.
Oh, okay. So it worked overnight. Okay.
And then they put us on a fishing boat in Dubrovnik and took us over to Bari, Italy.
To Bari, Italy.
Yeah, that's where our hospital was over there.
And so, what injuries did you get?
Actually, the only thing I got was a few cuts on the face.
Okay.
And bruised.
Really?
The doc said he didn't know that I was black or white.
Oh, that's how bruised you were?
Yeah.
Huh.
But I wasn't hurt.
Yeah.
In fact, it was too long after, so they couldn't even sew my nose up in her face.
They couldn't?
Well, it was too late if you...
Oh, because you didn't do it soon enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the interesting part of it, I thought. Why I'm not a POW.
No, there's a bunch of interesting parts of it. And so the two crashes, one was with the right wing,
the right gear, landing gear was...
And the second one was when the props ran ahead of you.
Yeah.
And then, did that happen on other aircraft where the props would...
I'd never heard of it happening, but afterwards, some of the maintenance people said it was common on that.
Huh. Okay.
I'd never heard of it. Like I say, the only thing you could do is you could. Oh heavens! Boy, sometimes my head just don't work.
No, mine doesn't work either. The only thing you could do when your props get out of hand, they told you
you hit the feathering button.
Feathering.
Yeah, and that turns the prop so that it's not spinning or anything. But you turn 3 of them that way, and you can't use an outboard motor.
Yeah. So you could have somehow changed the angle of the...
the angle of the blades. The blade is hitting the air.
Did you don't remember trying that or not trying?
Oh, yeah, they tried it and tried it and tried it.
Yeah.
John was really working on it, the engineer.
Yeah, I imagine they were trying everything if you fall out of the sky, and it didn't work though.
No, we still ended up with 3 of them still not working.
So you got back, and did they debrief you? They want to know what happened, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And
I had to sign what do they call it, system, to write the plane off,
To write the what?
write the airplane off.
Oh yeah, like a.
$250,000, but it was signed before I signed it.
Yeah, $250,000 aircraft gone, and you don't know if they ever recovered the aircraft.
No, they didn't.
Okay. How did they get pictures? I guess the Yugoslavians took pictures.
Evidently, I don't know how they got them, but they came addressed to me,
Huh.
and sure enough, there they were. You can see the.
And they didn't have a return address or no note or anything?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know what it was.
Huh.
But I'd given them everything I had.
And
I'd given them my $50. And
when you flew on a mission, did you normally fly the same aircraft or
Yeah.
did you just swap in? Oh, really?
yeah, you'd have one assigned to you, as long as it was all right. Why?
Yeah. What was your tel number? Do you remember? Or did y'all call it a name or how did y'all identify it?
Ours was Yellow Nan.
Yellow Nan?
Yeah.
Okay. N-A-N, like Nana?
And no, just N.
Oh, Yellow N.
Yeah.
Okay.
The vertical stabilizers on the plane were painted yellow, and then there was an N put on it.
Okay.
A Yellow Nan.
Okay. And so they debriefed you, had you sign off the aircraft, and then did they give you a lot? I mean, were they angry or they understood?
No, there wasn't anything to be angry about. You
Yeah.
couldn't prove nothing anyway.
Yeah. And so you didn't fly any more missions after that, or did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I mean, on that trip,
Oh no.
you went home.
No, I flew 2 more missions after.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And all bruised up still?
Well, it was about a month afterwards.
Oh, okay. And were you nervous that next mission?
Well, not really, because I talked to him and let me fly. So I'd been flying a little bit, just enough to, so you would be used to it again.
Yeah. And so your next 2 missions, they were kind of uneventful, I imagine?
Well, they were just like all the rest of them.
Yeah.
We were lucky.
Yeah, yeah. And when you were there, did some B-24s not make it home on missions?
Oh, yeah, lots of them.
Lots of them didn't make it?
Yeah. You know, I got to run to the bathroom there. Do you mind if I?
No, go ahead. Sorry.